Before I say anything about recovery, before I say anything about intervention, before I say anything about faith, I want to speak to the human being in this room. Some of you are exhausted, not just physically and emotionally, but spiritually. You're tired of promising yourself you'll stop, tired of hiding, tired of explaining, tired of disappointing people you love, tired of disappointing yourself. Some of you pray and then relapse. You worship and then use. You mean it when you say, never again, and then the craving comes like a wave. And afterward comes shame, deep shame, the kind that whispers, maybe I'm just broken. I want you to hear something clearly. You are not damaged beyond repair. Scripture says, a bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. Isaiah 42:3. If you feel like a smoldering wick, barely burning, that does not disqualify you. It means you are still alive. And as long as you are alive, hope is still possible. We are not living in a single substance world anymore. Many are navigating alcohol layered with prescription sedatives, opioids mixed with stimulants, pain medication plus anxiety medication, street drugs combined with antidepressants. Polysubstance use is more dangerous. It increases overdose risk. It destabilizes mood. It disrupts sleep. It intensifies trauma responses. And when relapse happens in this environment, it is rarely because someone didn't pray hard enough. It is often because their nervous system is overwhelmed. We must understand what is happening inside the brain. Addiction changes the brain. Repeated substance exposure alters dopamine pathways, which regulate reward and motivation, stress systems, which govern fear and survival, impulse control circuits, which help us pause and choose. Over time, the brain adapts to survive the chemical chaos. That adaptation is not moral failure, it is biology. But here is the truth that matters. The brain has plasticity. It can heal. The Apostle Paul knew this over 2,000 years ago when he said, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind daily." Romans 12:2. Healing requires time. Healing requires structure. Healing requires support. Faith restores your true identity. Science explains the mechanism. These are not opposing forces. They are complementary truths. Scripture says, the truth will set you free. Understanding the brain reduces shame, and shame is one of addiction's strongest fuels. Here is where we have a gap. Recovery systems often operate separately. Medical detox in one place, therapy somewhere else, faith communities in another room, medication discussions whispered quietly. Trauma is rarely addressed fully. And the individual, already overwhelmed, must navigate all of it alone. Fragmentation increases relapse risk. Integration reduces it. If we believe in restoration, we must build bridges. So what does research tell us? Some individuals, especially those with opioid or alcohol dependence, may benefit from medication-assisted treatment. Studies reveal that some require medical assistance during detox. These medications can reduce cravings, stabilize withdrawal, lower overdose risk, increase the likelihood of staying engaged in recovery and staying alive. They are not a substitute for spiritual growth. They are not a replacement for accountability. They are not a shortcut. They are a medical stabilization tool. If someone has diabetes, we do not shame insulin. If someone has high blood pressure, we do not accuse them of weak faith for taking medication. Addiction affects the brain. The brain is an organ damaged by substance use, and sometimes the brain requires medical support. Being alive matters. People need to be alive long enough to experience freedom, to rebuild relationships, to rediscover purpose. Medication is not the toolbox. It is one tool in the toolbox. It should be discussed openly, without fear, without stigma, and without spiritual condemnation. Grace and science are allies. Every good and perfect gift is from above. James 1:17. Medical knowledge is not contrary to God. It is an effort to discover how a part of His design works. Many who struggle with polysubstance use are not just fighting chemicals. They are carrying trauma. Unprocessed trauma keeps the nervous system in survival mode. When the body feels unsafe, the brain seeks relief. Without trauma awareness, relapse becomes more likely. Addiction is often a coping strategy that has gone terribly wrong. Recovery must include safety. Recovery must include processing pain. Recovery must include rebuilding the nervous system. Recovery is not just stopping substances. It is rebuilding sleep, nutrition, movement, relationships, purpose, work, belonging. What researchers call recovery capital, what faith communities call restoration, and I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten. Joel 2:25. Restoration is possible, but it requires integration. Hope is not denial. Hope is not pretending everything is fine. Hope is this: I may not see the entire path, but I believe there is a path. Science calls it agency and pathways. Faith calls it trust. You are not required to solve your entire future. You are invited to take the next step. One moment of honesty, one honest conversation, one moment of surrender, one day at a time. Hope grows when action begins. The goal of this presentation is to identify the true nature of this enemy and begin to equip you for victory. Put on the full armor of God. Ephesians 6:10 through 18. Faith transforms the heart. Science supports the brain. Integration protects lives. Move forward with hope, with clarity, with courage. We can reduce shame, increase hope, and increase true victory, not just abstinence, but life restoration. If you are struggling right now, you are not disqualified. You are not abandoned. You are not beyond repair. You may feel like a flickering flame, but even a flicker still burns, and sometimes a glimmer of hope is enough to begin again.